All right. Deadpool and Wolverine. The big question, will this save the Marvel Universe? The answer to that is no.
Yeah, spoiler. Spoiler, no.
But very quickly, it's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun from top to bottom. It does not overstay its welcome. There are many fourth wall breaking jokes that make
a lot of meta comments.
A lot of meta comments about the real careers of some of the actors that are in this movie, and the characters and the treatment of the X-Men franchise throughout the years. Mm-hmm. A lot of comments about that. We will get into spoilers on Friday, but it's like overall, really fun. Plan to see it again, maybe a third time even, because I want to see it with some other people and also get another bucket. But I think everyone will be satisfied, even those of us who have been disappointed with Marvel of late and their slate. And I think they may be a couple years from pivoting, but this is a really great experience that surprisingly pays tribute to the character of Wolverine while respecting everything from films of the past. Alan, why don't you
particularly the Fox films?
That's correct. Alan, why don't you give your impressions and then tell us the basic story in outline, and then I want to get into some specific things that for people to look for.
Yeah. Let me. I'll go into the story first. So Deadpool is in a place where he's kind of feeling his life has no value. Basically, it opens with him trying to join the Avengers, which obviously fails. Then you've seen the commercials. He works at a kind of a Drive Max, a CarMax type thing. Vanessa has left him. He has no team. But what he does have is that core 9 friends that he's amassed through the first 2 films, and they're all there for his birthday party. And when a knock at the door, Deadpool steps out, and it's the agents of the TVA from Loki, and they say that he is needed because he is special, and that they're going to use him to clean up the sacred timeline. And let's just say that I think a lot of this TVA stuff is done more as a joke than it is anything serious. So what happens is we find out that the 616 timeline is dying. Why? Because Logan died from the movie Logan. And Wade thinks that by joining the TVA, he can revive that line. But they tell him he can't, and becomes a rogue TVA agent. And he realizes that the only way to save the 616 universe is to return Wolverine. And the movie opens at Wolverine's grave from Logan. And let's just say things don't go well. A lot of people die. And Logan and Wolverine are thrust into the Void. Remember the Void from Loki season 1? Well, that's where he is, where the Void is ruled by Cassandra Nova, the sister of Professor X. And I think that's probably the best place to stop.
Yeah, that's the first act setting it up. That opening scene, because it starts with an opening scene, an action scene,
just like the first 2 movies.
Right. Opening action scene. Then wait a sec. Let me give this in context. And you go back and you get his life leading up to that point. The opening scene is so good. It respects the lore and F's with the lore. Because this story isn't about the Wolverine that we know. It's about a Wolverine that failed his world. And I feel like I can say that because that's in the trailer. Yeah. He's
the worst of the Wolverines.
He might as well be the loserine. He's terrible and just a bad Wolverine. And all of his friends in the X-Men have passed on. More than likely his fault.
Yeah. And he's a global disgrace. Everyone knows what he did.
He's very famous for being a loser and is drinking himself to death. So it is, in a way, a redemption story for this Wolverine. And that is the setup for the movie.
Yeah.
Out.
The first act. It all happens in the first act.
That's a lot more story there in the second half. We'll talk on Friday. But I want to get into some of the things I love about this film.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, the fourth wall breaking is great. The call outs. There were so many jokes. Alan missed one of the biggest jokes.
I missed the biggest one, yeah.
Well, because it's okay. It's, I miss jokes because people were laughing so hard. It was just, look, it was the home team, the crowd, but these were press. Most of the press, frankly, are people who really, really love Marvel and defend it, which is okay by me. But
I should say there are Easter eggs in this movie that our crowd just started screaming for it. I'm like, what did I just miss?
No, but it's because there were call outs to the comic books that only hardcore comic book fans would know. And I'm not just talking about cameos or things. I'm talking about the colors of the costumes. If you know, you know. So that's why I feel like I have to see it again, because I know I missed stuff. And so good. Like, it just, all that stuff was amazing. And another couple other things that stood out. The cameos in Multiverse of Madness were wasted.
Mm-hmm.
They had cameos from variants of characters like Mr. Fantastic, wasted. The cameos in this film, they're not even cameos. Halfway in the movie, we get a whole bunch of cameos, a whole bunch of characters, familiar characters. They're not just there for a one-liner. They're part of the story in the second half of the movie. They are pivotal. My God, people are going to lose their minds with the characters that have joined Deadpool and Wolverine, because Deadpool clearly feels some guilt about X-Force and how they were,
Dispatched.
They all kind of died, right?
Yeah.
But there's a new team. There are people, you are going to lose your mind, and they are utilized. Not a cameo, just a quip. They're there. They have their own arcs.
Well, it's
awesome.
It's like they said, all right, we're going to bring this character in. What is the perfect amount of time that person needs to be on screen for people to be satisfied? And that's what they did. There are people, again, who show up, and in films of the past, they would just show up and disappear and no longer to be seen. But they all have plot points that are pivotal to the story, and they are used in satisfying ways. For the most part, I'll just say the big ones definitely.
There was one cameo. The audience went nuts and lost their mind, and this cameo character had probably the best line of the movie.
Yeah,
that's a very meta line.
I'm like, oh, if he says that line, I'm gonna lose it, and he said it.
It was so good. We were dying. So the characters that you will see in this film, just think Fox movies. Fox characters.
No, they're MCU movies. Look, I don't want you to lead people down a road that might spoil things.
Right.
There's this leans heavily Fox, but there's MCU stuff. For one thing, Happy Hogan. What the hell? The de-aging effects on Jon Favreau in this movie. I couldn't tell if they did it as a joke or if they were trying to be serious.
Right.
The way they de-aged him, it is like it's like they should have just loaded him up with Botox and saved
the second thing about this movie that I will praise, the chemistry between Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, and Wolverine. Incredible. They don't get along for most of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's an extended fight scene in a car.
Oh my God.
Is so, like I'm like amazing. Like, how did they choreograph this stuff? And so their chemistry makes it. It is a buddy movie in the sense that a buddy film where the characters hate each other with every fiber of their being. They hate each other. And that's what this is, like 48 hours. Nick Nolte and
we
Eddie
mentioned
Murphy.
this last night, but this is a Deadpool and Wolverine story.
Yes,
It is
for
not,
sure.
It is not solely a Deadpool story. Wolverine story, we mentioned again. I think this and Logan are the best Wolverine stories.
Yes.
And the other thing is, we finally get Wolverine violence because it matches the Deadpool violence.
I was going to get into that. Okay, the chemistry amazing. This movie is R.
Yes,
and what you've always wanted. I always feel like they've held back with Wolverine because you can kill people with those claws.
Yeah,
and you know what he finally gets to do? He kills people, and it's in the most heinous, grotesque ways you can imagine.
It's like if I had indestructible claws, this is how people should die, and that's how they die.
and Deadpool with the guns and his ninja swords, chef's kiss. Like you can't imagine it's beyond violent. Marvel should make more R-rated movies.
And I would say this is probably I think this is the most violent of the Deadpool movies. Definitely,
it's the most violent Marvel movie ever made. Period, bar none. And like in ways where characters die in shocking ways. I would not bring a kid to this movie.
It's a cartoon graphic. That's how bad it is.
Yes, there's one death near the beginning. Again, no spoilers. That is just, you're like, wow, that happened fast.
Yeah. I mean, we can't, definitely should not spoil anything about that opening fight scene, but it is it is how Deadpool movies have started in the past. And it really ramps up the violence. And I think the ingenuity, the creativity behind these kills is fantastic. And again, I mean, it's the first thing you see is this amazing fight, and enjoy it, bathe in the blood.
It's just and the dialogue is really clever.
Yeah, on par with.
Here's the unexpected part. And I want to say Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, when you look at them in all the press, they are like elder statesmen. Yeah. No things about like, calling out. In fact, there are jokes about the woke mob in the movie. This movie is not woke in any way. It mocks it, but not in a cruel way, but calls it out at least.
Yeah, let's just say it's not woke and it's not based.
Yeah, it's just I think this will satisfy everyone. But I was surprised how much part the film had. There's the new trailer that came out that really focuses on that. That is the spine of the movie, so to speak, is that heart and their buddy relationship, and that there is a goodness to Deadpool and to Wolverine, Logan. They both have hearts of heroes who need to rise to the occasion. Yeah. So I think we said last night when we reviewed it, if you were to rank the Deadpool movies, it's Deadpool 1, number 1, Deadpool and Wolverine, number 2, and Deadpool 2 is 3, if that makes sense.
Number 3, yeah.
You rank them. I mean, they're very good, but they're in their own category. I will say also, if you're an X-Men lover, you have to see the credits. There is, I'll say, not a spoiler, there is a post-credit scene. We won't say what it is.
Are you talking about the one during the credits or the one after the credits?
The after credit scene.
Okay, all right.
Ties into nothing with Marvel. It's just for fun, like all the Deadpool movies. Yeah. But what happens during the credits is something that Marvel has never done, which was, I mean, if you got feels from the story of the movie, you're going to get feels. It's a tribute to all of X-Men fandom and all the Fox movies. It really is. And shows what an achievement. This is 25 years of these films. it is an achievement. On the level of like Harry Potter and what Marvel did with Phase 1, 2, and 3.
Mhm.
This is a tribute to that. So, it's still ruminating with me. I would say between an 8 and 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Probably more 8, 8.5 maybe, but so many great moments. I can't think of much that I didn't like. The only things might have been a little of the TVA stuff I didn't care for, but they wove it in a way that wasn't as annoying. One character in particular I found annoying. You know which one I'm talking about?
The annoying one.
Yeah,
The one
at the
intentionally annoying, right?
Oh God.
I found him annoying. Why?
Because
they wrote him right and cast the right person for it. That's why.
Well, they're supposed to be annoying.
But again, let me go back to the Jon Favreau de-aging.
Yeah, please.
That was pretty bad.
Right.
And again, did you think that was a joke, or did you think that was real?
No, that's a joke. Look, how much of it was serious?
I know.
A lot of parts were serious.
Yeah.
But my God, it's like you finally get to see Wolverine do Wolverine stuff.
Yeah.
I can't count the kills. There's got to be 100.
Yeah.
Or more.
Was Logan the only R-rated Wolverine story?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, they've been holding back on the guy for 25 years. And even Wolverine, I don't think was that, or Logan was that violent.
So, Alan, do you recommend Deadpool and Wolverine?
Absolutely. I would give it an 8.5 as well.
Mine's like 8.5.
Yeah. Look, if they brought back Gina Carano, it would get the 10. But
that would be yes. But it's funny because in the way that Multiverse of Madness did not utilize their cameos well, this movie learned from that mistake. The cameos are so well done because they become part of the story. And I can't tell you what any of them are. You will be very happy. I did not say it. Be surprised in the theater. We will be back Friday for a full spoiler review. We'll talk everything. You'll be warned. I don't want my bad reputation of spoiling things to spread far and wide. But I think this will unite Marvel fans, ones that have been the ones who have been justifiably critical will really like this film, and Marvel fans who like it all are going to love it.
Yeah, I think one of the keys to this movie's success was no Disney meddling.
It doesn't feel like there was any Disney meddling.
Yeah.
But and Ryan Reynolds, he's involved in the story and what happens. Like, he is a writer, and he's a writer in his own, right. So
you could tell that. Just the fact that this matches with the first two movies in terms of how much freedom Ryan Reynolds gets, how much everyone got in this one. It just didn't feel like they were holding back in any way.
And I can see Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine again, like literally Deadpool and Wolverine 2, maybe next. I really believe it, because
I think I think we have another $1 billion movie here. And I wouldn't have said that about Deadpool 2 or 1. I think this one has such replay value that I think it will make that $1 billion mark.
And it's the timing. So there we go.
Yeah.